session. Hello, good morning. It's morning over here. Welcome to this session. So, I am speaking on building unique personal brands for global recognition, and it's so exciting to be here. It's also so powerful to have learned everything that people have been sharing, just seeing snippets here and there, what everyone is learning. Thanks to Selar and kudos to the team for making this beautiful opportunity possible and for creating this summit. This is it's one of those conversations that we have to keep having. The conversation around why go global with your message, the conversation around being a creator that is impacting lives globally, and just that conversation around uniqueness as well. So I'm so happy that we get to talk about it. I'm so excited that this is something that is now mainstream, because there was a time, I mean, who remembers that there was actually a time when personal branding was a topic for the guys wearing suits, people carrying business cards. It was proper corporate speak. Like, you don't just see people saying personal branding in normal business environments, or even in creative spaces. Yes, let's call it that. So I'm excited that this conversation is now mainstream, and today we're talking about building unique personal brands for global recognition. Thank you, Sarah, and thanks to the team again. These are interesting times. So, like I was sharing, there was a time personal branding was not even something we talked about. Like, people were more concerned about doing the serious stuff. Like, it's either you are working, it's either you are an accountant or an engineer, or whether it's software engineer, whatever thing you are, or a scientist or a lawyer or an artist even, or you are just somebody who is playing. Remember a time when it was like, oh, all these people online, they're just playing. But now people who are online are real entrepreneurs too. You don't need to have a physical office, you don't need to have a large team, you don't need to have a corporate building. You still qualify as an entrepreneur. And I think that the generations before this didn't even see this coming. So totally unprecedented, very interesting, and so many people are getting involved. Today anyone can get online, and that's exactly what a lot of people are doing. And so you'd see that the creator space has evolved. So we now have all sorts of creators. We have the makers, we have the experts, we have the designers, we have people who would call themselves marketers, just people breaking into different subgroups. And that's great. So many words come to mind when you think about creators. It's no longer a thing that when you say creator, people be like, what does that mean? Okay, what exactly do you do? I mean, that is gradually going away. So now it's becoming clear. It's now part of our lingo, and you can find this in the dictionary. Like, you can actually explain this. So what this means is that, or the implication of that is that anybody can get on and just say, I'm a creator. Hey, look at me, I'm a creator. I'm a creator too. I've started creating, on Twitter. I'm a creator on Instagram. I'm a creator, or Threads. Even Threads. Anybody can identify as a creator. Like, it's possible for me to have identified as a creator yesterday, and today I'm suddenly identifying as a creator. It's just what it is. Internet has made that possible. Technology has made that possible. And while this is a great thing, it is a great thing because it means that the barriers to entry are lower. So that's a good thing, right? But at the same time, it also means that anybody can do what you do. Anybody can learn what you know. Anybody can use the tools that you have access to. So people can actually get online, access the same tools that you have. And so anybody can do what you're doing. Is it writing? Anybody can write. Is it, creating social media content? Anybody can pick up and do that. Is it designing? Anybody can pick up those skills and do that. Even speaking, anybody can become a speaker today. You don't have to go to school for it, because there is accessibility, because they have access to the same social media, to the same courses. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people are watching this right now. Tens of thousands of people are attending this summit right now. So everybody has access. And again, it's a good thing, but it also just reminds us that, look, it's no longer unique it's no longer unique enough to say, oh, I'm the only one who knows how to do this. There's nothing like that. There's no only anymore, because there's accessibility. Or you can't claim to be the only one who has access to YouTube. You can't claim monopoly of Instagram or even Threads that literally just started. So because of that increased accessibility and increased penetration of the internet. There was a time when internet access was like something you had to be really rich to have, but now it has been democratized and many more people can have it. So just because of that, it's become more important for us to think of how to differentiate ourselves. So people often say it this way and say, oh, the industry is saturated. There are so many newcomers. I don't know about saturation, just because there's still a whole world of people out there who have not gotten involved, and also because the world's population is large, so there's still a lot of opportunity. So that's my point. So we're not calling it saturation because there's a lot of opportunity, but at the same time, it has become important to really just differentiate yourself. Like, what are you going to do to become the number one choice for recognition? Like, if they actually wanted to recognize a creator today, there'll be so many options. No matter what criteria they're using, there'll be so many options. So what are you going to do to become the number one choice for a particular recognition, or for partnerships, or for even clients, or for opportunities? What exactly are you going to do? Because the same way you want this, there are so many other people who want it as well, right? So what are you going to do differently? What are you going to implement, or what are you going to change to make sure that you are now the go-to person for these things that you want? You want it, I want it, we all want it. Well, my name is Tolu Michaels, as they have rightly introduced me. I'm a personal brand strategist. I teach entrepreneurs how to position themselves as valuable leaders and experts, so that they can stand out, so that you can stand out as the obvious choice for premium clients and profitable opportunities. So essentially, this is what I do for a living, just thinking, how do you become that number one choice for the opportunities and for the clients you're looking for? But I wasn't always this person. 6 years ago, I recently got married, and this was 6 years ago. And then I had to move to a new city. I was going to move to a different department at work, but that fell through. It just didn't happen. So I was left without a job, without money, you know. Also, nobody knew me because it was a totally new place, no clients. I had recently relocated. So just in case you're thinking, yeah, all this going global stuff sounds nice. That's the theme. And this is why I'm sharing this story. The theme for the summit is going global with your message. And you're saying, it sounds nice, but nobody even knows me here. Like, I haven't even started anything. I don't have any background. I didn't have background in this. I studied mechanical engineering, and I was working in finance at the time. So, so I didn't have background in doing business, and I didn't even know what it meant to get customers online. I didn't know anything about online marketing. I didn't know what an online business was, but I wanted to try. I was willing to try, and I think I also didn't have a choice. When you're hungry and you don't have a choice, you just get it done anyway, because I wasn't in a position where I could purchase inventory to resell something. So my big option really was to share my skills with people, to sell my skills, but these people didn't know me. So it also became obvious that I needed to be able to share my skills with people across borders, with people who were not in my physical location. And that, my friends, is how I went online. So between then and now, in my business, I've trained over 25,000 entrepreneurs, from across 5 continents, written a best-selling book. And so believe me when I say that you don't actually need to be famous in the beginning. You don't need to be fancy. You don't even need to have it all figured out. But you do need to think global. You do need to think about, what can I do to make people find me, see me, know me, trust me, even when they've never met me? Because that's what working online is. Like, 99% of my clients have never met me. And it's still me who's done all these things. Like, still saying me from 6, 7 years ago, same person, same marriage, beautiful marriage, same personality, same smile, still me. But something definitely changed. Like, we cannot lie about the fact that there was a process, and there's still a process. And what has made the difference for me is my personal brand positioning. So I shared that story to say, look, I'm not, trying to shout platitudes from the sidelines or sitting on a high horse and saying, yeah, this is what all of us need to do. But I'm saying that I found it necessary to do it for myself because I had no other option. So even if you do have an option, even if you do have a 9 to 5 or something else that you're doing, it has become important for us to think about our personal brand positioning. So maybe before now you were saying, yeah, I'll just do my business and let my work speak for itself. Can I put it to you that your work needs a voice? It cannot speak for itself, and there's nothing wrong with your own voice. And also, a personal brand is not a distraction from your business. It's an asset to your business. Okay. Okay. I think we have clarified this. And I hope that if you found yourself in the story I shared earlier, you've also found yourself in the growth that I have also now shared and what I've experienced. The advantage of being able to position your brand like this, you need this advantage. It doesn't matter what you sell. That's what I'm telling you. It doesn't matter if you're, maybe you execute your services offline. Some people would even say, look, I'm just a creator for fun. It's just my passion. It's just my hobby. That's great. But, when you intentionally build a brand, it gives you more opportunities to impact lives. And when you do start to sell something, you might say, yeah, it's working right now. I'm selling. People know me, but it can also get better. You can also scale that if you want to. And this is why I keep saying that you need that advantage of having a personal brand that people recognize, that people trust, no matter what you sell. Because as you grow and change, your business will grow and change. But when people know you and trust you and want to take action because of you, then you can sell anything. You can literally change your mind. I mean, think about an artist that you really like, an entertainer you really like. If they decided to start selling maybe jollof rice, you still like them. You still like them, you still follow them. You still respect their work. You still find their work to be, special, to be important, to be useful, because what you like about them is not necessarily just the niche that they were in. So that's the point. You don't even know the logos of some of your faves, some of people you admire so much. You don't even know their logo, but you know their brand. You trust their wisdom. You believe in their vision, and that's an advantage that you need. That's an advantage that I need, no matter what we are selling. So something to think about. There are so many options. Why do you choose the creator you've chosen? The graphic designer that works with you. Why have you chosen this person? The coach that you have. Why have you chosen this person? The creator whose social media you're glued to, why did you choose to follow this person? I'd like you to just pause and write that down. Like, why did I choose this person that I've chosen? Why did I choose to listen? Why did you choose to be at this summit right now? There's so many other things you could be doing with your time. What was it about the way this summit was communicated that said, you know what, I want to spend my time with these people today? Why did you choose that among all the other alternatives, among all the other things you could have been doing? Why did you choose, the person who helps you with your graphics? Why did you choose person who helps you with your social media? So if you have a social media manager, why did you choose that person? And if you are a social media manager, what is the reason why a client will choose and remember you? If you are a graphic designer, what is the reason why a client will choose and remember you? If you are a social educator, a teacher, a creator, a course creator, why would the client choose and remember you among thousands of options? Because that's what we've established. There's lots of alternatives. So many people are online. It's a good thing, but it also means that there is competition for the same attention, for the same eyeballs. Not a bad thing, but you're going to need to have a strategy. So why would they choose and remember you? That is something to think about. And the truth is, your personal brand is what separates you from everyone else in the world. Your personal brand is what stands you out from everyone else in the world. You could say, yeah, I'm really good at what I do. What if somebody becomes good? You could say, I have a degree from Harvard. Okay, yes, I also have a certificate from Harvard. What if 20 other people, get it? Do you understand? So what exactly would you say separates you? Your personal brand, your stories, your experience. Those are things that people cannot copy. And let's be honest, I think step one would be, why do you want this recognition? Remember, we're discussing building unique personal brands for global recognition. So why do you want this recognition? Why do you want to be recognized? Why do you want to be seen? Why do you want to be known? Why do you want to be heard? Okay, just be honest with yourself. It's important to write it down. It's important to start here, because this will guide how you execute your strategy going forward. This will guide how you build your brand going forward. This will guide how you move, the kind of moves you make going forward. So let's just be honest. Why do you want recognition? I mean, it's okay to want it. It's okay to say, in fact, you should say that, oh, I want it. That's self-honesty, just being able to say, I want this. But I think step two is being able to say, this is why I want it. Because if we cannot raise necessity, every other thing we're saying is just not going to happen. Like, we'll just keep talking about it and it won't happen. So why do you want global recognition? Okay. Whatever your goals, whatever you wrote down, whatever you answered to that question, the global advantage is in communicating your unique value. And we do this through personal branding. And the reason it's a global advantage is that globally, you're unique. Globally, you're special. Globally, you are you're a different person. And if you're able to communicate that difference, like, nobody can argue with that. So when you think about the world, if you're still thinking about your streets, you might still be feeling like, oh, those things people do. Oh, my house was the first house on the street. My house is the biggest house on the street. But when you're thinking about the world and you're thinking globally, then you realize that it cannot be something external that is the advantage, because I mean, we're talking about the world. Somebody else has more than that or lots of that. So your global advantage will be in communicating your unique value. It's an advantage because nobody else in the world, no matter how much the population of the world grows, nobody else in the world can be you. And imagine knowing that and then being able to communicate that. It sets you apart. And how do you communicate your unique value? How do you communicate this value that only you have? It's through personal branding. And so I'm going to share 3 quick steps to communicate your value, your unique value, through personal branding. The first one is position your personal brand. The second one is package your personal brand. And the third one is promote your personal brand. So let's go. Let's go. So positioning your personal brand. Positioning is the space you occupy in the mind of your audience. So things have position in our mind. When we think about tools, you're thinking, okay, this is the most efficient, or you're thinking, this is the slickest, this one is really sleek, or you're thinking this is the cheapest. That's positioning. It's occupying a space in your mind. So for you, positioning is the space you occupy in the mind of your audience. So we kind of have spaces for different things where we just say, if you're looking for the best at videography, it is so and so person. You know what I mean? Or if you're looking for the best at editing, or real transitions, so you just have people occupying different spaces in your mind. And that's the same way you would occupy a space or none in your client's mind, in your audience mind. And when you get this right, everyone who comes in contact with your work, they immediately understand why they should work with you. They immediately understand why you're different. And if you're not the person for them, they also get it immediately. So when positioning is done right, like when you position your personal brand properly, you attract the right people and you repel the wrong people. It just sticks out. It's almost like, you can't hide who you are, because now you have discovered what makes you different and you're doing it on purpose. You're purposely saying, look, this is the space we want to occupy. The same way, a brand like Coca-Cola, let me use Coca-Cola, that's neutral for all of us here. The same way a brand like that would say, oh, they want to occupy the space. When you think about happiness, when you think about sharing a drink with your family, you think about that. So it's a space that you're intentionally occupying. So for you, what space do you want to occupy? What stories will you tell to reinforce that? What would you share to reinforce that? What would you put out to reinforce that? Remember what I said earlier, like, if you don't raise necessity, then execution just becomes impossible. Consistent execution becomes impossible. So the same thing here. I'm going to give you some questions that you can use to think through your positioning so that you can change something today. So this session is actionable. I'm giving you questions to think on, questions to answer, so that you can make a change today, right now. Okay. So when it comes to positioning your personal brand, what you want to do is to be able to define the value you bring and how people should relate to you. So you define the value you bring, just the ability to say, look, this is what I add to the table. This is the value I bring. Yes, there's so many people using this app. I'm probably not the only one who knows how to use it well. However, this is the specific value you get from me that you can't get from someone else. And you have to be able to define that. And that's why I asked you that question earlier, saying, why did you choose the creator you chose? Why did you choose the person you hired? Why did you choose the person that you follow? Because it's not usually as simple as, oh, they're the best. Sometimes it's, I like this person's vibe, or I love their smile, or I like their personality. So you have to be able to define your value beyond just thinking about your technical skills, but also your soft skills, also your experience, also your exposure, your education. The things that have made you, the journey that has led you here is something that is difficult for someone else to replicate. So just being able to say, yeah, you can get someone else to talk about personal branding, but I'm also able to do it through the lens of someone who has consistently run a successful online business and sold several formats of products successfully, of digital products successfully. That's a perspective. So it's the same thing with you. Define the value you bring and how people should relate to you. What you need to achieve this is clarity. And the following questions will help you think through, will help you reach clarity about this. So ask yourself, where am I the best person for the job? When you want to communicate your unique value, you want to communicate your unique personal brand, you have to actually think about the fact that you're not the best for everybody and you're not the best in every situation. So you might not say it publicly, but you need to know it in your mind. So you need to know, for example, that, oh, yeah, I'm really good with interior design. But when it comes to residential spaces, I'm a genius. In commercial spaces, yeah, I'm just okay. It bores me, so I just try. You have to just be able to say that, like, look, I'm in my element when I'm working with a certain type of person or for a certain type of outcome. So where am I the best person for the job? I know you're good at what you do. I know you're hot. you're special. You're spectacular. I know. But in what particular situations are you at your best? With what particular people, types of people, do you get better results? What kinds of people are you more attuned to helping? You want to be clear about that. And that's the next question. Who am I most equipped to help? So let's assume that you are a course creator and you create courses about, let's say, create courses about content. So how to create good content, how to create content that sells. Maybe that's a course that you sell. You know that when you think about it critically, your course might not actually be for other content creators like you. It might be for people who are not really artistic. It might be for people who don't consider themselves to be creative. It might be for people who are just at level 1 with content. So you're saying, look, I don't think I'm most equipped to help people at level 10, but people at level 1, 2, 3, oh yeah, those are my guys. You want to have that kind of clarity. Otherwise, you won't be able to communicate your unique value. You see that thing of, yeah, I can help anybody, I'm for everyone. That behavior will quickly elevate you to insignificance. We don't want that. We do not want that. So the third question you want to ask yourself is, why will my clients choose me? So the question I had asked you earlier is something you want to ask again and be able to re-engineer that. So for example, I can say my clients will choose me because they don't just want to build a brand. They want to build a brand that aligns with God's purpose for their lives, with what they believe to be their purpose in life. They want to be able to build a brand that aligns with their authentic self. They want to be able to build a brand without losing their originality. Or they want to be able to build a brand without posting every day. Do you understand? So it's not enough to just say, oh, I'm an interior designer. Oh, I'm a clarity coach. Oh, I help you build a community. Why would your clients choose you? Because there's somebody else doing that stuff. So why would they choose you specifically? What kind of goals do they have that will make them come to you? And then what do they find the most valuable about working with me? This is very different from what they bought from you. The thing that people find the most valuable about working with you, if you don't look closely, you might not know it, because it's usually soft things like empathy, like consideration, like articulation, or warmth. Oh, they just feel safe around you. So what do they find most valuable about working with you? there you have it. These are the questions you want to ask so that you can engage with clarity in defining the value you bring and how people should relate to you. This is very useful because now we know that, oh, yeah, there's so many other people doing this on the internet. There's so many other people talking about parenting or relocation or plants, or gardening or however, this is how we should relate to this person in particular, based on how they have shown us that they want to be remembered, they want to be known. Okay, so the next step, package your personal brand, packaging your personal brand. I know this one gets a bad rap. It gets a bad rap because people are like, it's just packaging, everything is just packaging, and it sounds like vanity. Even when you hear it, it sounds like vanity, so it does get a bad rap. But you see, packaging is how you influence what people feel about your work. And this is important because what people feel about your work, how people feel about your work, it determines the value they'll place on it. And the value that they place on it determines what they'll be willing to pay for it. How people feel about your work determines the value they'll place on it. And the value they'll place on it determines what they'll be willing to pay for it. So that's why somebody would be willing to, just pay for Zobo, just pay, change, coins for Zobo on the streets. Zobo is a nice drink. Let me just put it like that. So it's a drink, okay, and this drink is made from plants. You can actually cook it in your house. So that's why I'm using this example. You can just get the plants, boil the leaves and make it at home. But you can actually also buy it on the street, like street food from a booker or from a restaurant. You can buy that street food, but then you can also buy it from a high-end restaurant that has not packaged it. Maybe they even serve it in a glass and they can sell it 10 times more and you will pay. You know why? Because how you felt about it determined the value you placed on it, and that determined how much you were willing to pay for it. Because you're just like, I just want an experience right now. So that's how I want you to think about what you're doing as a creator. How are you presenting your work? How are you presenting your work? When you consistently present your work with intention, when you consistently present your work in a particular way, people take you more seriously. Just assume you're more brilliant or you're more intentional or you're more serious, like you're more focused in life. You see, that's the interesting thing about aesthetics, about external beauty. People make lots of assumptions about it. And I know you'll be saying, don't judge a book by its cover, but how else are we supposed to judge a book we haven't read? People do judge books by the cover, So that's something to think about. But when you take your packaging seriously, when you do this right, you become easily identifiable. So I can actually see a Selar poster from afar and know it's Selar because it's easy to identify. You know what I mean? They have done a good job of presenting Selar in a particular way every single time. I just need to see that specific shade of purple and I know it's Selar, So it's the same thing for you. You become easily identifiable and your expertise is desired. So because we desire what we admire, and people will admire stuff that's beautiful, stuff that's put together, that's well presented. So the tool that you need to achieve this is customization, and I'll show you in a minute. So, but what you're aiming for is to show up in a way that communicates that you're valuable, you're credible, and you're desirable. Now, we haven't even hired you yet. We haven't even worked with you yet. But we've seen your beauty, so we can make assumptions about your brilliance. That's how it works, right? So just by looking at how you carry yourself, how you present your work, how seriously you take your work, we can assume that you're valuable. We can see that you're credible and we can desire it. So you see that word desirable again, because like I said, we desire what we admire, right? And the tool for this is customization. So you want to walk through all your touch points. Every interaction somebody will have with your brand. It takes time, no pressure. It can be a work in progress, but you want to at least start. Whether it's a Google form, whether it's Instagram bio, whether it's a thread, whether it's a LinkedIn post, just look out for these touch points and see, how can I customize this? How can I make this more like me? How can I own this in such a way that when people see, they'll know that, oh, it's me. They will know that I've touched this thing. They can see my touch. They can see evidence on it, of my evidence of my expertise, evidence of my exposure, on it. Because when you know better, you should do better, right? And the first question I want you to ask yourself is, my work appealing to a global audience? That's the conversation Selar has brought us here for 2 days, talking about going global with your message. And in this specific session, we're discussing building unique personal brands for global recognition. But global is not something we're just saying because we can add it to make the sentence longer. It is a thing. There is such a thing as getting paid from people in places that you've never been to. We are privileged to experience this in our business. So I experience this every day. And and you have to understand that because the internet has allowed us to be able to reach everyone, there is the possibility that anyone could actually see your work. But the question is, when they see it, will they find it appealing? Would it look desirable? Rhetorical question. You've got to answer it. My work appealing to a global audience? What comes to mind when someone sees my face or hears my name? You want to write it down, and if you're brave, ask your friends, ask people who know you. That, oh, when you hear my name, what comes to your mind? Or the moment you see my face, when I show up on your timeline, what comes to your mind? You want to be aware of this, because there's a difference between you think you are and who other people say you are. So that's why a popular definition of branding is that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Because think about it, their perception is their reality. It doesn't matter if you say, I'm smart, I'm authentic, I'm thoughtful, I'm calm, I'm structured. Maybe that's what you're saying. And somebody's seeing you as just another hustler trying to make money for today. But you are busy saying, no, I'm structured, I'm authentic, I think long term, and they might be wrong. That's the funny thing. They might be wrong because they don't really know who you are. But based on the information you put out there, they've made their assumptions. They have a perception, and their perception is their reality. So you want to be able to close the gap between that perception and your own reality, which is where, personal branding comes in. So you just be honest with yourself and answer that question. What comes to mind when someone sees my face or hears my name? The next question you want to ask yourself is, how do I make strangers feel safe and excited to work with me? Because these people know you. They just met you online. They've seen your work. Maybe they visited your website. They saw your checkout on Selar, and they're ready to whip out their cards and pay. What can I do? How do I make them feel safe about this decision? How can I show up in a way that communicates that I'm credible, that I'm not a spammer, I'm not a fraud, So it's something to think about, and you can do something about it. There are elements you can add to your work or to your page or, to your offers that can actually make people feel safe and excited to work with you. Like they feel that sense that, yeah, I'm gonna get what I paid for. The responsibility is on you to make that happen. And the fourth one to think about, using that example I made about Zobo or about any drink really, does my offer look like an investment or an expenditure? Again, no pressure, work in progress. Work in progress. So today you might just say, my goodness, I hate my answers to these questions. But it just shows you what you can work on and what you should work on and how you can improve it as you go along. Does my offer, based on how I've packaged it, based on how I have presented it, does it look like an investment or an expenditure? Can somebody look at it and say, this thing looks really good. Like, it looks like I'm getting more value than I'm paying for. Then they can think about it as an investment. It looks like when I pay to work with this creator, I would actually get returns. It would grow my business. It would save my time. It would make me money. Because anybody who is spending money with you, they have an outcome in their mind that they want to achieve. So does my offer look like an investment, or does it look like an expense, something they're just spending money on and they're never going to see that money again? It still has to do with how you've packaged your personal brand. It has to do with how you're showing up. It has to do with where you're showing up, and it has to do with how you've customized every touch point that people have with you. Right? The third one is promotion. promoting your personal brand. This is how you share your ideas with the world. I mean, even if you're not selling anything yet, even if you've not put a price to any offer yet, which, I encourage all creators to offer something. But even if you're not there yet, you want to share your ideas with the world. You want to share your message with the world. This is how you do it. This is how you attract the right audience. People keep thinking, how do I grow the right audience? How do I grow my audience? Here's the thing. Let me put it this way. Every message has its audience. So when you put a message out there, it attracts its own audience. And that's why, you've probably seen this happen to you. You made a post, you just wanted to say something and go away, but you made a post and you see people tagging their friends. In fact, sometimes they're having a conversation that has nothing to do with you. In your own comment section, they'll be tagging their friends and saying, oh, Neka, see, this is what we're talking about the other day. Because that message you shared has its audience. It resonates with someone and they call themselves. So it keeps attracting its own audience, and it keeps speaking to people of a particular type. So now imagine doing that consistently. That's how you attract the right audience. So there is something to be said for going out to go bring people into your world, but that doesn't even matter if you don't first put stuff out that can attract the right people. Because if you bring people into your world and there is nothing you've shared that resonates with them, they're still going to leave. Yeah. So promoting your brand, communicating, sharing your work, sharing content. This is how you attract the right audience and get more eyeballs on what you do. This is how you get more attention. When you show your work, when you promote your ideas like this, then you increase your chances of coming to mind for relevant opportunities. You increase the chances that you come to mind when it's time for global recognition. Because people will just say, okay, I see. Is it about content marketing? I know a guy. I don't remember his name now, but I'll search for him. Or somebody would say, is what? When it comes to TikTok, I know someone who's the expert. This is a handle, because you've been showing your work, you've been promoting your ideas. So now you're increasing the chances that you come to mind when relevant opportunities arise. Oh, I know a great marketer, So that's what promotion does for you. Now, promote your personal brand. What's the key thing you want to do? You want to help more people know about you and the wonderful work you do. I often say that if your work is as powerful as you say it is, if it's as important as you say it is, if it is as helpful as you say it is, then it is your responsibility to make sure that as many people as possible hear about it. It is your you have an obligation to make sure that people know that you have this beautiful, helpful thing to offer. And the tool for doing this, no surprise, is content. Content. So share content so that people can know about you and the wonderful work you do. What kind of questions? How should you think about this? What should you ask yourself when it comes to promoting your personal brand? Question 1, is it clear what solution I'm providing and why I'm a good choice? If somebody landed on your bio today, can they tell? Is it clear? Is it obvious that this is the solution that you provide and this is why they should choose you? It's not about long sentences and paragraphs. You really don't have to tell them everything. You just have to tell them enough. But you want to think about everything we've shared earlier. Am I showing my position in what I'm sharing? When people meet me, can they tell my position? Does the packaging make sense? Is there something about the way I've put my words that can give people a sense of the type of person I am? Is there something about the type of emojis I use that can make people feel a certain way? Is it clear why I'm a good choice? Is it clear why I'm unique? Is it clear why I'm different? Are there some credibility markers? Is there anything I can say to make people see that, okay, I'm not a JJC and they can trust me? That's a tip for you there. Question 2, can I name the main problem that each of my products solve for the clients? Because this will affect your content. So you have people just putting out misaligned content, and every single day they're talking about this ebook or this template or this course or this community. And people are asking stuff like, how is this different from the other? Or how can this really help me? Because, confused people don't buy. So if they are confused about the problems that your product can solve for them or what you can do to help them, if they're confused about that, they won't buy. They'll just refuse to make a decision. So can I name the main problem that each of my products solve for the client? And I'll tell you for free that if you cannot name a different problem for each product you have, then you really don't need to have that many products. So you should be able to distinguish each product you have, because if you can't clearly in a sentence distinguish them, then chances are people in your audience cannot distinguish as well. And that's bad for business, because confused people don't buy. Is there a narrative that communicates the urgency of my products? I get it. People say, oh, create educational content, inspiring content, entertaining content, promotional content. Okay, great. But what's going to be my narrative around telling people why, not just why they should buy, not just why I'm a good choice, but why they should buy now? Why they can no longer wait to make a decision, why it is expedient for them to take action today. Is there a narrative that communicates this? Is there something I'm saying to let people know that it's not an option to keep for some time in the future? The decision to work with me, you want to make it right now. Is there something I'm sharing to let people know that? And fourth, do I have a consistent promotion plan that attracts the right people? So it's one thing to say I have a content strategy. That's great. But what's your promotion plan? What's your plan to daily promote your brand, to daily share your work, to attract the right people? Because there's such a thing as the right people. And I know that we've shared a bit about this when I was talking about positioning and asking who are you most equipped to help. All right. So that's how you promote your brand. And these are the questions that help you think through your content as to whether it's working, whether it's effective, or whether you need to improve it. Okay, remember, your personal brand separates you from everyone else in the world, because people can copy the tools you use. They can even copy your degrees. They can decide to go to the same coach you go to. People can look at you and say, you know what, I love how you look. I'm going to your photographer. I want your exact photographer. People can even decide to go after the same media features you've had, the same places you've been featured on, the same anything. People can choose to copy anything. But you know what they cannot copy? They cannot copy your story, your experience, your exposure, your personality. They can try, but they can't consistently copy that, including the mistakes you've made. Those are the things that have made you different. Those are some of the things that have contributed to your uniqueness. And the more you lean into that, the more unique you actually become in the eyes of everyone. So your personal brand separates you from everyone else in the world. Okay, let's do a recap on the 3 steps to communicate your unique value through personal branding. Step 1, position your brand. And the action to take here is define the value you bring and how people should relate to you. What do you need to do? This clarity, engage with clarity. And a key decision you need to make right here, right now. How do I want to be remembered? So write it down. This is how I want to be remembered. Decision 1. Step 2, package your brand. And so what you do here is to design. You design how you show up so you are seen as valuable, credible, and desirable. And the tool here is customization. So you just say, anytime you're using a tool, anytime you're showing up somewhere, you're like, how do I make this more like me? How do I customize it? How do I personalize it so it's like me? And the key decision you're making here is, what do I want people to feel? How do I want people to feel about my work? What do I want people to feel when they see my face, when they hear my name, when they come in contact with my work? You need to think about it in advance, like today, so that everything else you do going forward will just reinforce that. And the third one is promote your brand. So what you do here, your action here is to deliver. You deliver your story to help more people know about you and your work. So you deliver your story to help more people know more about you and your work. For everybody you really admire, for everyone you love, you find that they are prolific, they speak often, they share often, they repeat themselves often. So you know their story. Because you've heard it oftentimes to remember, yes. So, and the tool for promoting your brand is content, of course. The key decision here is, how would I communicate my value? So yeah, I understand my value. It's clear to me how I want to be remembered. I know what I want people to feel when they come in contact with my work. Lastly, how would I communicate that? How would I share that with the world? What will I say? Where will I say it? Who will I say it to? How often will I say it? What metrics would I look to for insights on whether what I'm saying is resonating? So those are the thoughts on how would you communicate your value. Whether you're on level 1, positioning your personal brand, level 2, packaging your personal brand, or 3, promoting your personal brand, or doing all 3, please remember that your personal brand is valuable because of you. So no matter how you position, no matter how you package, no matter how you promote, you can change it. You can change it. It's okay to change it. It's okay to say, I no longer want to be recognized in this way. It's okay to say, this is no longer my professional title, or I'm no longer sharing this type of content. That's fine. Because your brand is valuable because of you. So you can evolve as you go along. You can improve as you go along. You can be flexible. You can pivot. Because again, your brand is valuable because of you, not because of all these things. They are great, they help, but if somebody took them away, the essence of you will still not change. So your brand is valuable because of you. Well, a gift for you if you've watched this far, a gift for you, secrets to standing out online. It's free, and I just share how to clarify your brand message so you can stand out, and packaging checklist so you can customize, and how to confidently create good content. So I have those, just the things I've shared, but now like more checklist and tips type of situation. So there's a free guide there at tolumichaels.com/secrets. It's called Secrets to Standing Out Online, to buttress these points. And the good people of Selar have been so sweet. I kept thinking, what can I add to this presentation that will make it more valuable for their audience? So yeah, there you have that gift. You can get it. And thank you for this time that we have shared. Thank you to the team. Thank you to everyone for listening. Remember, your brand is valuable because of you.